Three great causes drove me to enter this race in the first place, primarily. And these are the principal causes that persuaded me to leave the Democratic Party and run as an independent. And now to throw my support to President Trump.
Would you then change your vote from Kennedy to Trump?
Yes, I think anything that we can do to get Kennedy in a higher position is worth it. I believe any decision that Kennedy makes, it comes from an enlightened place. So he has my full confidence and support in anything he decides to do.
We just had a very nice endorsement from RFK Jr., Bobby.
He did it. He endorsed Trump. I think this is huge for Trump. I think this is a big momentum game for Trump. The media is not going to talk about it, but the people are going to change their perspective, especially the ones who wanted to vote for RFK. They're going to change their perspective and either give Trump a vote or they're going to use RFK's still existing ballot positions in certain states to vote against Kamala Harris. This video is brought to you by ground.news, ground.news/Tatum. We'll get to that in a second. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notification. Anytime I go live and make a video, make sure you're still subscribed to this channel. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a big, pivotal moment for Donald Trump in a lot of different ways. I honestly believe that after the quote-unquote momentum from the DNC, which I think they didn't have a lot of momentum, I think they had a lot of ups and downs and valleys because they had a lot of incredibly embarrassing things that they've done at the DNC, especially with these abortion buses outside giving vasectomies and abortion pills to people. And the same people that's like, my body, my choice, protect the kids in Gaza, and they taking the lives of the kids right here in America at the DNC. All right, let me get to my point. So I think that RFK had a leveraging point of voters who were disgruntled with both Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump. And I think that they're, upset about it. They don't want to pick either, so they had an out. But that out decided to say, I'm going to cast my vote for President Donald Trump. I'm going to cast my support with President Donald Trump. And therefore, he articulated, and I think people can receive, the fact that he thinks that the Democrat Party is an existential threat to America. And that's where I think people start to say, I was going to vote for RFK, but I think I need to vote for Trump if RFK is not on the ballot because we can't let these people in. The same theology of the people that follow RFK is going to be the same theology of saying we can't let the Democrats win. I really do believe that. But let me go to ground.news, which is my favorite website to find news and find it in a balanced and accurate way. One thing that I honestly hate is that when I hear stuff only on one side, you got to hear things on both sides or you're going to be stuck like Chuck. All right. So RFK suspended his presidential campaign. You can see now that it's a huge story. You got, when you look up at the top right here above my head, you see there's 27 articles from the left and 12 from the right and 26 from the center. And this was updated 7 minutes ago. All right. And so how do you kind of get the best information from this website? All you got to do is see what they're talking about on the left, see what they're talking about in the middle, see what they're talking about on the right. And when there's more articles, which are coming soon, they're uploading articles as they come in. There will be a bias comparison. Therefore, you can click on it and you can go straight down and see where the biases are. Another thing that I really like on here is you can see what news outlets are reporting on it. So not just the fact that it's left, right, you can see which ones are reporting on it from the left and right. You can see the factuality. 71% of the people who are reporting on this are reporting with a factuality rating of 100%. So it gets them right around 71%. Ownership, you can see that the biggest ownership is media conglomerates, the ones who are putting this article out. A lot of times this becomes very important because you can see, is it, independent news that are reporting on it or is it big conglomerate? Which could tell you if it's propaganda or it's not, right? And if you want to follow certain individuals, like if you are interested in RFK, you can click right here and push the plus sign and add RFK to your list. You can add all of these to your list. U.S. elections, down here, political, all this stuff. So go through and find your articles here. It tells you exactly what articles are what. You click on the articles, it pull it up, and you can have a fair and conclusive read. And I want you guys to, right now, if you use my code, which is ground.news/Tatum. We'll put the link in the description section. You'll get 40% off the Vantage plan, which is the unlimited access plan, which is the plan that I use. So I love getting stuff at a discount, and they finna hook y'all up because y'all support me. So go to the link, ground.news/Tatum, get 40% off on the unlimited access plan. Shout out to ground.news for creating a great website. I wish I came up with ground.news. I'd be a trillionaire right now. All right, let's get to the RFK video, because some people haven't listened to what RFK said. Maybe some people don't want to listen to what he said. You probably prefer for him to read it because his voice is kind of distorted. But it seems like his voice is getting a little bit better. But I think the invaluable point is what he actually said and how he's decided to endorse Donald Trump. And I would argue that he's probably going to be on stage with Donald Trump tonight at the rally because he's here in Phoenix doing this presentation. Roll the clip.
3 great causes drove me to enter this race in the first place, primarily. And these are the principal causes that persuaded me to leave the Democratic Party and run as an independent. And now to throw my support to President Trump. The causes were free speech, the war in Ukraine, and the war on our children. We were the party of labor, of the working class. The Democrats were the party of government transparency and the champion of the environment. Our party was the bulwark against big money interests and corporate power. True to its name, it was the party of democracy. As you know, I left that party in October because it had departed so dramatically from the core values that I grew up with. It had become the party of war, censorship, corruption, big pharma, big tech, big ag, and big money. When it abandoned democracy by canceling the primary to conceal the cognitive decline of the sitting president, after all, the polls consistently showed me beating each of the other candidates, both in favorability and also in head-to-head matchups. And I'm sorry to say that while democracy may still be alive at the grassroots, it has become little more than a slogan for our political institutions, for our media, and for our government, and most sadly at all for me, the Democratic Party. In the name of saving democracy, the Democratic Party set itself to dismantling it, lacking confidence in its candidate, that its candidate could win in a fair election at the voting booth. The DNC waged continual legal warfare against both President Trump and myself. Each time that our volunteers turned in those towering boxes of signatures needed to get on the ballot, the DNC dragged us into court, state after state, attempting to erase their work and to subvert the will of the voters who had signed those petitions. It deployed DNC-aligned judges to throw me and other candidates off the ballot and to throw President Trump in jail. It ran a sham primary that was rigged to prevent any serious challenge to President Biden. Then, when a predictably bungled debate performance precipitated the palace coup against President Biden, the same shadowy DNC operatives appointed his successor, also without an election. They installed a candidate who was so unpopular with voters that she dropped out in 2020 without winning a single delegate. My uncle and my father both relished debate. They prided themselves on their capacity to go toe-to-toe with any opponent in the battle over ideas. They would be astonished to learn of a Democratic Party presidential nominee who, like Vice President Harris, has not appeared in a single interview or an unscripted encounter with voters for 35 days. This is profoundly undemocratic. How are people to choose when they don't know whom they are choosing? And how can this look to the rest of the world? My father and my uncle were always conscious of America's image abroad because of our nation's role as the template for democracy. the role model for democratic processes and the leader of the free world. Instead of showing us her substance and character, the DNC and its media organs engineered a surge of popularity for Vice President Harris based upon, well, nothing. No policies, no interviews, no debates, only smoke and mirrors and balloons in a highly reduced Chicago circus. There in Chicago, a string of Democratic speakers mentioned Donald Trump 147 times just on the first day. Well, who needs a policy when you have Trump to hate? In contrast, at the RNC convention, President Biden was mentioned only twice in 4 days.
So that's a little bit of his speech. I thought he did a really good job. And I'm not going to lie, this is the first time I watched it in its totality, at least the clips that we cut in its totality. And I'm definitely inspired, and I feel very proud of RFK Jr. for actually taking a stand like this. This is not easy. It's not popular. People are going to hate him for it. They're going to come after him for it. But I think it was the right thing to do. I got a lot of respect for him, or gained a lot of respect for him after listening to him speak on this topic. Now, there's a lot of nuance to this, right? He's not off of every ballot. He's quasi-suspending his campaign. But I think that what his objective is, if people don't know, he's going to leave his name on the ballot in a lot of these Democrat states. And therefore, that gives people an option to turn out and vote, right? They can still show up to cast a vote down ballot for Republicans or whoever else they want, and they don't have to sit out of the presidential election. They can decide to vote for RFK if they just can't stomach Trump, so they don't have to vote for Kamala Harris. So if a person goes to the poll and they're like, I hate Trump so bad that I can't stand him and I hate Kamala Harris. Well, if you don't have a third person to vote for, you just got to vote for Kamala if you hate Trump more. Or you can vote for RFK, Kamala don't get any votes or don't get those votes. I think some of those, that strategic measure can really help give people an option to vote against Harris as well. I think RFK said a lot of important things when it comes to the fact that Kamala Harris was incredibly unpopular, and she spent zero time, even now, talking about policy issues, going on television, and the TV people aren't holding her accountable. I just really believe that this was one of the most crucial things that could have happened in this election, was RFK dropping out of the race and endorsing Donald Trump. Now, next in line, because Joe Rogan really had a lot of respect for RFK, I think that the next step would be Joe Rogan interviewing Donald Trump. It would be the biggest Joe Rogan interview of all times. Matter of fact, I'm going to text. I don't have his text number. I'm going to send Joe Rogan a DM and say, interview Trump, brother. You don't got to like the man. Just interview Trump. Because RFK just dropped that and pretty much endorsed Trump. Interview Trump. Now, I know he don't need the money, but I think they'll have a really incredible conversation, because then Joe Rogan can kind of press Trump on a lot of issues and Trump can respond. Mark my words. Record this. When Joe Rogan interviews Donald Trump, it's going to be the biggest Joe Rogan interview of all time by far. I put my money on it. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There is a strategy to this. I think RFK is making a good strategy by not pulling his name off of all the ballots. I do think it's incredibly important that a man that was polling in popularity at a pretty significant rate as a third-party candidate, probably one of the most popular third-party candidates of our lifetime, at least mine, and he's now endorsed Donald Trump. I think it's incredible. I think this is going to take Donald Trump over the edge to win this doggone race, because the Democrats actually have no substance. It's manufactured growth and potential and excitement that's not really true with the American people. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.